But so while I've been covering this story, I made contact with Nick on Facebook just to see what would happen. It surprised me when he actually did respond with me last night. While he kept his location secret from me, he did offer up some other details about what he's been up to. For roughly an hour, I talked with escaped inmate Nick Grove through Facebook Messenger. Although he wouldn't reveal too much information, he did tell me days after he escaped from jail, he already had a new life. Saying to me, quote, "This is my element. Within 4 days, I had a new life, new ID, new face, new job." Grove says someone offered him work. "I have had more help from a total stranger that I met just a week ago than I have from my entire family or circle of friends." I asked him how he escaped and why. He said, "That place has more security flaws than any facility I've ever seen." And it would seem using Facebook would be risky for someone on the run. Grove said he was using technology to hide his location, operating from an anonymous web service.
It may appear that why can't they get this guy, but there are ways to block that.
Boise State criminal justice professor Lisa Groet-Bostaff says Facebook often asks users if they want to use their location when posting. It's a setting you can easily turn off.
It's not as easy as it sounds in terms of law enforcement being able to identify where that person is just because they're using social media.
And she says Facebook has no obligation to give law enforcement personal information without a warrant, meaning you can hide and be present on social media at the same time.
In the short term, it sounds like a great idea to put yourself out there on Facebook and make people or agencies appear as though they don't know what they're doing or that they're floundering or taunting them, and not realizing that in the long term, at some point in time, you will get caught. And at some point in time, when you do get caught, you've just laid out all this evidence.
Grove disclosed personal issues with me, trouble with a former girlfriend, feeling targeted by police, and ultimately saying he didn't believe they would go through the trouble of tracking him down for his burglary and firearm possession charges. He said, "They'll wait for me to pop up on the grid, but like I said, Nick Grove doesn't exist anymore." Today, you know, he was outside on a beautiful Idaho day, much like it is today, but then suddenly a storm came in and it caught everybody by surprise. What happens next is Ryan's life is changed forever.
It's a weird feeling.
It's a feeling Ryan Cross says is hard to describe.
Getting struck by lightning, it's just something it's so weird. Just how off kilter I feel. It's almost, I don't know.
But here in the comfort of his home with his wife Heather supporting him, he concentrates on healing.
I'm relieved to be moving forward.
Ryan must use oxygen to keep his heart rate up, and he's noticed some changes in his body.
What I notice now is like nerve pain down my arms.
In the areas where the bolt entered and exited his body, it still hurts, and his memory of the strike completely gone.
It was sunny out Saturday, and I could see the clouds starting to form. Then it started hailing, and that's the last thing I remember, honestly.
I remember when my hearing came back, I realized I was screaming.
Mark Cameron was with Ryan that day and was struck in the leg. He remembers the way it felt.
Just intense, like you just feel really hot. If you like sleep on your arm and your arm's dead, it just feels like that all over your body, but really hot.
The strike hit a tree that Ryan was touching.
I remember looking back at Ryan, and he was actually still standing up, but he was smoking from his front of the jacket.
And his headgear destroyed.
When people are looking at him right now, they're thinking, oh my gosh, he's better, he's good to go. Doctors aren't sure when or if he'll fully recover.
But as he recovers and moves forward, Ryan says his survival is a sign of something.
I got 2 kids to take care of, a beautiful wife, so I got to be here. There's a reason. Very grateful. Glad to be here.
At age 71, Raleigh Seeloff is relearning how to walk and drive. In fact, he used to drive this kind of a Porsche.
He's always liked nice cars.
Now you could say he drives this kind.
So this is the Porsche of this kind of leg.
Back in November of 2013, Raleigh and Donna's lives changed forever.
One evening, Donna asked him to retrieve their dead cat that had just been hit in the road outside their home on Amity.
On the way up, I was thinking, boy, my life is really good. I got good life, you know. And then that's the last thing I remember.
As Donna waited for Raleigh to return.
And for some reason, I just had a feeling something was wrong. I didn't see him, and then I saw a car up the road just a little bit in front of our house, and so I ran up there, and that's when I noticed him, and he was just all crumpled up. And I thought he was probably dying.
And doctors say it's a miracle Raleigh didn't die. For 6 months, he fought for his life in the hospital with pins and rods throughout his legs. He even kept positive when doctors said they had to amputate one leg.
I had a lot of poison in my system from my legs.
And then it was Raleigh's decision to take the other.
We thought, well, you know, better get rid of the infection. He was fine with it. I was probably more traumatized.
But more than a year later, he's finally back at home, working each day to regain strength so that he can walk on his prosthetic legs.
Yeah, everything was broken. The orthopedic surgeon calls him Humpty Dumpty Man. So, put him back together.
Yeah, it's all up to me to get going and get it back together, so.
And if you remember, Raleigh said that right before the accident, he couldn't help but think about how good his life was. He says now,
well, I lived through it. I feel good about that.
You know, the Red Kettle is really all about convenience. Think about it this way. There are roughly over 200,000 people living in the city of Boise. So if we all gave just $1, we could probably help the Salvation Army get that donation of their goal at $250,000.
Hi there. This is my third season. I had been wanting to do this for several years. Morning.
From 9 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon, Clara Hines does her best.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
She smiles and waves and chats with shoppers here at this Fred Meyer.
Lots of stories over the time, just one good story after another.
She does it because perhaps her good energy
Well, let the fun begin.
will help put another donation into the Red Kettle. The Red Kettle is iconic if you think about it, appearing in movies through the years from old and new. The idea started in 1891 when Captain Joseph McPhee was distraught because so many were going hungry in San Francisco.
And it just kind of caught on as a means, and it's become iconic.
Major Rhonda Lloyd doesn't want to see that iconic Red Kettle go away. These Red Kettles can bring in up to $10,000 each season.
We just are almost a cashless society now, and so it just makes it much more difficult for folks to put into the kettle.
She says giving is sometimes a matter of convenience. When many stopped carrying cash, the Salvation Army tried other methods.
We had the little square. Folks just didn't want to stop and take the time to do that. We've had the URL codes. We've had all sorts of text to give. None of those things have brought in the money that we've needed to make it actually worthwhile.
Thank you so much.
I'd love to see people ask for cash back at the register and just stick a 5 in there. That would be wonderful.
In the 3 years Clara has been ringing this bell, she's seen its worth.
They are doing good. A lot of good.
She hopes people will keep the Red Kettle tradition alive.
Just keep on giving. It's really helping people.
Clara was really fun about being a bell ringer. She really enjoyed doing that. But want to let you know that if you are one of those people that just really does not carry cash, there is another way to donate. You can actually go online to a new thing that the Salvation Army is doing. It's called the Online Red Kettle, and there you can